to 22 Blue, our very own podcast. My name is Ishan, and I will be your host today. Today's episode, episode 7, will be about being a pessimist, optimist, and a realist. Follow us on Instagram at 22blue.podcast and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure to turn on post notifications for uploads. Enjoy! We post funny bloopers on Instagram, so look out for that. Today is my debut episode as editor. We're so sorry about missing the last few weeks, but we know this week's episode is going to be great. This is a disclaimer. We did not intend to offend anyone. These are just our personal opinions. We sincerely apologize if something offends you.
Next up, we have the topic of the week. Today, we will be talking about being an optimist, realist, and pessimist. So pretty much, being a pessimist is someone who sees the bad in everything. Being an optimist is someone who is usually more on the positive side and sees the good in everything. And then a realist is someone who sees it from a realistic point of view, such as someone who considers both options and all things that could happen. So, do you guys want to talk about what type of people are? Yes, what type of people are. Perfect.
As a people, I feel that I tend to fall into I have a kind of self-deprecating humor, and that often bleeds into pessimism pretty easily. And I tend to view myself from a pessimist perspective, which is not a healthy thing to do. Because, leaning too far to one side isn't great. But I am more of a realist / optimist for other people. Because I tend to view them as in a better light than myself, if that makes sense. But, it is what it is. Miki, would you like to share your views and who you are as a people on this topic?
Yeah, as a people, I think I'd probably be, maybe kind of like pessimist, but I want myself to be more realist. So probably really on the verge. I try my best to look at the pros and cons whenever I'm doing something or I'm in a situation. But yeah, for other people, I think some people think that I'm more optimistic, but yeah, that's my view.
I'll go. As a people, well, I guess I'm more of a pessimist, but I do see both optimist and realist points of view, but it really depends on the situation.
Yeah, for me, I feel like towards other people, I'm more of a realist, but towards me, I feel like for myself, I feel like I'm either on the verge between an optimist or a realist, but I'm not sure, to be honest. So yeah, Jay, what do you think? What kind of people are you?
What kind of people am I?
Yes.
I don't know. I really wouldn't know. I'm not an optimist. That's something I can say for sure. I agree with Ishan on the fact that I am not good with, I'm very pessimistic towards myself, which is not a good thing at all. So, but it's an improvement thing that we're working on. But I generally think that I'm a realist. I like to see the positives and negatives of situations. But I would say I'm realist leaning towards pessimistic.
I feel like I'm a little bit more optimistic than most people, mostly because in middle school I was extremely pessimistic and pretty sad, but now I've learned to, love myself, and so I'm a little bit more optimistic than usual these days, and I'm also leaning towards realistic because I'm also very real, I guess you could say. I know when things are going bad and I'm not going to deny it. But it's good to stay positive when you can. So yeah. So what about you, Anisha?
I think I am a realist. Okay, anyone else want to go?
So, so let's talk about the benefits of each, because there are times when pessimism will be more helpful There are times when optimism will be more helpful, and there are times when, and this is most of the time, realism is the most helpful. Because, like, you never want to stray too far to an extreme, but it's very likely and easy for that to happen. I'll give an example of when I've been a realist, or like an example of when it would pay to be a realist. When you compete in, so I recently participated in the FBLA tournament with Chris, and we did pretty good in the preliminary rounds, and we didn't make it that far in the semis. Now, yes, the pessimistic thing to do would be, we didn't do it, which it's important to note that where you mess up, right? Like, because that's how you get better. But it was also important to note how far we came, because not only did we beat out other teams in our school, we managed to make it to the semis. So that means we had to be doing something right. But it also doesn't mean blind optimism is the answer. So, realism would be the best, and it usually is, I'll reiterate that, the best. Like, the moderate path is usually the path to go with, Cal, would you like to, talk a bit more about this?
Oh yeah, I had a similar situation, but I definitely do agree with Ishan that some situations it's better to be an optimist and look for the bright sides and things, versus some situations you kind of have to focus on the negative for a little bit, even if it might hurt you. And some situations you might just have to focus on the reality of what's happening and what you can do better on or what you can improve, or yeah. So I can give an example too. So in December, I was going to a debate tournament, and I really did not want to go to this tournament. I don't know why I signed up, but it was the week of finals. So I had finals work and I had to prepare for debate. And I went to the tournament, and it was on varsity, and this is my first time competing in varsity. And I didn't expect to do good, but I actually did do good, better than I thought. And I didn't flunk, which is what I expected initially. So I guess I could say in that moment I had optimism for myself. And then when the award ceremony came, realistically, I knew I wasn't going to be nominated for an award because it's my first time, and I'm probably not as good compared to the better people in the room. So I was optimistic during the round, but realistically, when it came to the awards, I looked at it from a more broadened perspective. And I wasn't nominated, but the judges gave me the third place award, which was nice.
Wow, congratulations.
As you should, as Cal is, and I will stand by this, one of the strongest speakers I have ever heard, as someone who also participates.
Thank you. Likewise, John.
I feel like it just comes down to experience, as Captain Rex from Star Wars once said, experience outranks everything. And that is correct, because you could be naturally talented, but if you don't put in the work that somebody with experience has, you might not do as good as you will. And Cal, that was his first time, and he did amazing already. So we can already guess how well he's going to do from here. Chris, would you like to talk about this?
No, I actually had a question for everyone. So when did you guys first realize you were an optimist or pessimist or realist? Because for me, I think it was this year actually, but I think it was when I was in a MUN thing, Model UN, and I was speaking, and then I realized all the bad points in my speech instead of how well I did. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that it falls into your outlook in life generally, because, life has a habit of just being bad, for most people. There's not a single person who doesn't have a rough patch. And I want to reiterate this. You do not know what everybody is going through. Somebody might seem happy, but there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I feel like a pessimist would fall into just looking at the bad, because there's a phrase steel is forged through fire, right? So yes, experiences might be bad, but there are things and people who help you through that, and there are positives to that as well. Through the FBLA tournament that Chris and I did, I would never have met Chris and figured out how intelligent Chris is if we hadn't gone through that tournament together. So there's a positive right there. I mean, it's what you gain out of the experience, I'd say, than more where you end up at. Jay, you're obviously a very talented artist. So would you like to talk about how, pessimism, optimism, realism affects your art style and how you and how you work?
I'm really a perfectionist when it comes to my own art, because it's like I want my art to sometimes look a certain way, and it gets so annoying when maybe it's not doing, like, maybe my skill level has not reached that area to do what I want to do, and I can become very pessimistic, like, oh, I'm never gonna make it, because honestly I do want to do art as a career, not like just keep it as a hobby. But like sometimes I'm thinking like, oh, I'm never gonna make it, like I can't do something, like I can't do architecture, I can't do furniture, which is all true, I can't do that. But like I just have to take a step back and just look at how far I've come, because my old art from 4 or 5 years ago, and I look at it and I'm like, wow, I've improved so much. Like, I've gotten so much better at character design and perspective, and like, let alone just drawing people in anatomy, because hands, awful. But like, it's very hard to sometimes maintain an optimistic or realistic attitude when it comes to art, because you're always told that like you're never gonna make it out there or something like that. So it's just like a learning curve.
I would say that there are moments where you feel weak, and the pessimism is it's very easy to succumb to pessimism, but I feel like it's important to recognize how far you've come, as you said. And I mean, you guys can go look at Jay's art on Instagram. It is phenomenal. Okay, like, she doesn't have anything to worry about, but as a person, she knows that hey, I want to improve. So that's kind of like the realist aspect of it, because I'm kind of being an optimist and saying that she's, really good, and she is, but like, there's always room to improve, no matter how good you are, there's always a new limit you can break. Cal, would you like to talk more on that?
Yeah, I feel like there's always room for improvement, and like, just like general advice for everyone, like, just like, believe in yourself, because you guys are all talented people, and you are definitely going to do things in life, whether you don't realize that at the moment, but you guys are all going to be successful. Miki, would you like to add some final thoughts?
Yeah, I think, like, in general, people, like, personally for me, I think if I can't do something, I try to just go around it and try to find something else that I can do. So I think that's, like, a good quality that most people should look for. Instead of thinking that you can't do anything and you're just gonna fail, like, it's better to find alternatives,
Yeah, so over the course of today's episode, we've kind of, done a little bit of introspective thinking. It's kind of hard to, to look at yourself and look at the positives, the good, bad, and the ugly. But it's important to do. And, we've done that today, and we hope we've encouraged and fostered thought for our viewers and listeners as well. Just a reminder, there's always good and bad. It's not black and white. There is gray area. So in a situation that isn't great, look for the positives. In a situation that is great, keep the positives in mind. But, maybe just remember how you can improve, because there's always room for improvement. And that is today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Please email us if you have any questions or suggestions. Follow us on Instagram at 22blue.podcast, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, keep smiling and being amazing. Can we get a bye from everyone?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.